This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Everybody, welcome to this week's pod. This is the week review of March 5th, 2022. I had to look. Again, I always, we record this on Sundays, and it's always like yesterday's date. It always throws me off. No matter how long we've been doing this, which is 100 episodes, Phil.
Woo!
Yay,
Party.
Fireworks. Yes, we've been doing that. I have a big stickler. I hate podcasts that say, this is episode 1,200, and what, like, that means nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Usually it means something when you have seasons. It's like, this is episode 10 of season 3. Like, we know, because every season's only 10 episodes or whatever it is. But I think it's kind of pointless if this is episode 67. It doesn't really make a difference how many episodes there are. You guys don't care. But 100 is a nice round number. People like celebrating round numbers. So we're
Except
here.
for Walt Disney World.
Well played. I like that. Yes. Very good. So we have 100 episodes. So, Phil, we've been doing this for, I think I might have reached out to you literally 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost. To start this podcast, and you wrote a really cool question. We were both kind of in sync with this. Is what is your favorite memory, or what are some highlights? I should say. I don't know if you could say this is the ultimate one, but what are some of the highlights of the last 2 years of doing this show?
So the first one that jumped out at me was thinking of all the cool guests we've had over the past 2 years. Obviously, a lot of them are friends and people coming on, and travel agents or whoever, but also thinking we had Scott Gustin on, we had Len Testa on, we had Chris from Japan call in from Japan.
Yeah, that was great.
These are all things that would not have happened. I would not be talking to these people if we had not started the podcast. So I think that's kind of a neat thing that, it's kind of cool that that happened to us, but also just, the technology enables that we can talk to somebody in Japan and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, our little show, right, is talking to some people that have, I don't know, thousands upon thousands of people following, interacting, and listening to them on a weekly basis. And you named the three big ones. Yeah. One of the things when I look back, and it's not really a specific memory, but it's like the evolution of this show, right? Mm-hmm. So we went from, basically trying to review the week of the Diz boards, right? That's where we start. That's where we met. I guess if we want to say met, right? That's where we collaborated to form this podcast. And we were going to talk about because we were interacting. We didn't have Discord at the time, right? And we were going to interact with this is where we spend hours upon our day, interacting with the community. We wanted to kind of review on that. And there was a time where we were very close to becoming part of the WD Info or the Diz family of podcasts, but that kind of fell through the cracks a little bit. And then we had what was it, a 3-week hiatus where the spacing between the third episode and the fourth episode was a month. That was the only time in the last 2 years that we had a break in the shows. I'm rather proud that we've been consistent, that we've put out a weekly show for basically 100 weeks in a row. And then we went through processes where we had friends and family, and I think we need to get back to that. I quite enjoy those kind of episodes. We had a lot of people on, and then we went through our newsy phase, right? Yeah. Where we you did the news for half the show, and then we did topics for the show. But we started off with rather than even do news, we just had 3 topics. Mm-hmm. That was kind of fun. That's kind of what we're doing now again. And then just the fact that we're still here 2 years later still amazes me. If you asked me 2 years ago, would I be doing this again in 2 years? I'd be like, maybe, because 2 people, right? You and I didn't know who each other were. We were just random people on the internet that we see each other posting on a message board. That typically the podcasts that last are people that are live right down the street from each other, and they kind of go and they record in their garage every once a week with a couple beers, that type of thing. But so I'm rather proud of us that we've we've done well, and here we are. So those are kind of like the journey is my memory, right? Where we are today. I think the one thing that we're missing is actually doing a show, the two of us, from Disney World, right? That's the only thing that we haven't.
I was going to say, you're talking about how we've done it without being in person each week. Like, we haven't been in person ever. We've still never met each other. So.
It's been close several times.
Yeah, several times. Yeah,
a couple times. My business has taken me close to where Phil lives, and it's just that didn't work out for the day that I was up there and meeting down at Disney World, where our trips actually aligned like 2 weeks ago. That didn't happen. Yeah. So now, instead of living about an hour and a half south of you. During COVID times, which was never a good thing. Now I live, I don't know, about 4.5 hours south of you ish. What's your time to Baltimore? Yeah. Like 4.5 hours or so?
About that, yeah.
So it's a little bit more difficult. In any case, I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the show. I have a couple of interesting trip report stuff for my mother who just went down. So we were kind of debriefing her last night. We were hanging out, and we were saying, like, there's going to be a mother-son kind of trip in the future, I think. And I just noticed the Figment popcorn bucket in your background. I'm just mentioning that. That's excellent. Good for you. I'm like,
thanks, RC.
Thank you, RC. Yes. Well done. I think there should be a time where we basically, let's plan a road trip down to Disney World for like a weekend. Just you and me. Stay somewhere. Just kind of like do the show. We'll do like, I'm thinking we do like an hour show. And we have like, maybe we're down there 2 days, we get hoppers, and we do a 15-minute segment at each park. And that's our hour-long show for the week. I think we could pull that off. I think that's easy to do. We won't be tired holding the camera up in front of us to like record or something else like that. I think we can kind of pull that off. I think we should do that sometime in the next year. What do you think?
I think it's an admirable goal. Let's see if life allows for it. But.
Yes. Well, a lot of things need to happen first, obviously. But I think that's something that we should do. Other than that, we don't have anything special planned for our 100th episode, other than fond memories and the next episode to go. That being said, Discord had no new members, but a bunch of people left and came back. I know
every time I see that sections, the admin section say, I'm like, oh, maybe somebody new joined. It's like, no, it's just somebody coming back, which is great that they came back. But I'm like, oh, still nothing to add.
Well, I mean, this week I've been out of Discord quite a bit, so I've been away, and I'm like, oh, what happened now? I get a chuckle out of that. DCI, no change this week. I think we're still at 80.69.
Yeah, just some small changes, but nothing major changing. But I know one of the things we were talking on Discord with Matt about was he decided to add in a factor or something for the cultural representation at World Showcase, because it wasn't that doesn't really fit into any bucket, but we decided that was something that absolutely left because of COVID and is a gap from the full Disney experience. So I think that, and also at Animal Kingdom Lodge. So I think it's kind of been an interesting process thinking about all the elements that really make Walt Disney World, and I think that is one of them.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great. Did he actually put that in his updates? Yes,
he noted that in the updates. I'm not exactly sure what the factor is, but somehow he added that as a category so that when they are back, it will
give a little
increase the score. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so last week we left off with you giving us our full trip report of your Park List Orlando trip.
Yep.
And we promised this week we'd get right back into the dining review aspects of things. So how did you want to do this? Did you want to do like a day by day? Did you want to break it down by like, this is what I did for dinner, this is what we did for lunch?
I have things sort of in order, and that's how I had the pictures loaded too. So I figure that might make the most sense to go that way.
Okay.
So I thought I would start. I mentioned this, a lot of these things got mentioned, but we're just going to go a lot more detail into actually what I got, what I ate, what I liked, what I didn't like, that sort of thing, and hopefully makes help out you all when you're planning your next trips, either because there were some obviously Disney locations we ate at, but other areas as well. So the first one was on our arrival night. We ate at Yachtsman Steakhouse, which is over at the Yachtsman, or the Yacht Club, I guess I should say. And that's our first time we had ever eaten there. I know that's a popular location. A lot of people like it. My wife doesn't eat beef or pork, so we kind of usually don't target steakhouses.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to try something different, and I thought it would be something over in the Epcot area. The idea of watching, fireworks from the boardwalk area afterwards. I know I mentioned last week that didn't quite work out, but that was part of the plan and why we picked this location. We also watched some video reviews of people like I think Princess in the Bear right there, and she's vegan, and she still enjoyed herself there and stuff like that. So my wife was like, let's give it a shot.
That's cool. Okay.
So just going through some of the items I got to eat. The bread service that comes with it, they're kind of known for their onion pull-apart rolls, and they bring out this roasted garlic bulb that you just kind of spread garlic on it, and it
sounds delicious.
It is. It deserves the reputation that it has. I think my kids ate too much of that. I think my son was like, "I'm sick," and I'm like, "Yeah, you ate like 5 rolls." So
see, I made falafel last week from scratch, and
Yeah.
I made a huge batch so we could have like 3 meals worth of it. I have some of it frozen. I eat it on my salads, and I used 2 bulbs of garlic in it. Granted, like I have a huge batch, right? So I'm like, this should be fine. No, it was way too much garlic. So yeah, I feel for your kiddo.
And I don't know if I'll remember everything that I drank, but I did start out with one thing I was eyeing on the menu beforehand, what they call their Whiskey Breeze, which is Jim Beam Black Extra Aged Bourbon with Contrao and fresh lime juice with flavors of guava and mango. And this was one of the better drinks I got.
It's almost like a whiskey margarita almost.
It is kind of the combination of that, where it had enough of like the fruit juices that it, kind of mellowed out the bourbon, but you still noted the bourbon. So it's like my wife's not a big like bourbon drinker, but she liked that drink. She tasted it and liked it as well. So definitely something if that's something that might catch your eye, I would say go for it. Food wise, I got the 16-ounce ribeye. And I subbed in the brandy peppercorn sauce, as people on Discord were recommending that I get that.
I've got it on screen now.
I also got the potato leek gratin as my side. And what we did, because my wife was going through what she wanted to get, was there's different things you can get as enhancements to your steak dinner. And one of them was a half lobster. So
I had that in the next picture.
Yeah, so I got that as an enhancement to my meal, but my wife had that as her entree.
Oh, it's like split right down the middle.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay, there's a term for it, and I'm not remembering it. It's not butterflied; it's something else. But never mind.
We told them that's what we were doing. Is that okay to do? And they said yeah, and they actually brought it out on a separate plate and everything for her. So it worked out really well. She really enjoyed her lobster. And she got a side of mushrooms, and we got a couple other things. Kids got a variety of things from pasta, steak on a stick. One of the things they love, though, they got a Mickey puzzle for dessert, which I think is always a fun thing. Kind of kept the kids busy towards the end of the meal as they're starting to drag out a little bit. And then for dessert, we did get, even though we were like stuffed and tired and stuff like that, we got the Yachtsman chocolate cake. It's sort of the dessert they're known for. It does even say on the menu it serves 2. I think it serves like 4. In reality, this thing was huge. It was really good. There's like a lot of different layers to it. So it's one of those desserts where it feels like every bite tastes a little bit different. We brought a lot of it back to the resort. Definitely a benefit of having, a place where you're staying that has a full restaurant or full kitchen with a full fridge and stuff like that. So we brought a lot of that back. But overall, this was a really good meal. This is obviously, it's Disney. It's a steakhouse. It's not cheap, but it's one of the places where when the bill came, I was like, all right, that was worth it. Type thing where there's been other places at Disney when the bills came and I'm like, that was a little much for what we got.
You're probably averaging anywhere between $30 to $45 a person with 1 or 2 drinks. Is that the price?
A little bit more than that. Like, my steak was $59.
Okay,
plus the lobster and stuff. So this is a signature place. This would take 2 dining credits.
That's right. It's a signature. I completely forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a higher end place. So yeah, we were north of that. Because I did get a drink and a wine and.
Fair enough.
But still, after everything that came, like I said, when the final total came, I didn't, faint. I thought it was an appropriate amount for, it was obviously knowing there's the Disney surcharge.
So for going in, knowing it's a steakhouse, and knowing that you're bringing 3 kids, did you feel rushed at all through the service, or did you have because usually when I'm going to pay like $40+ a plate, right, or a $60 steak, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I want to have a drink. I want to have an appetizer. I want to have a salad, and I want to have my entree, and I want to have my dessert, or whatever many courses that you go for. But I don't want to feel like rushed. I want clear my plates, and then fire the next meal and bring it on there. How was the service timing? This place?
Definitely not rushed. If anything, I'd say there was a little bit too long of a gap before it wasn't bad, but I was kind of like, okay, I wonder where the entrees are coming. Like the kids are getting a little restless, but it was, it wasn't like we're waiting hours and hours or anything like that. So they're definitely not rushed. Definitely the kids felt welcome. The servers were great with them. So yeah, it's a Disney place. Obviously it's a little nicer. And the kids were a little tired from as I mentioned last time, it was our arrival day.
Sure.
But overall, we really enjoyed it. Great service and really enjoyable food.
Awesome.
So if you haven't been there and, you're thinking about something, especially on, because it is over at a resort, it's not at a park. So you have to kind of take some time to get there or something. But if you're having, say, a pool day or something like that, it's a really fun area. Even afterwards, while we didn't stay for the fireworks, we did walk around that area, like that side of the boardwalk area, and saw the pool, the amazing pool they have there, and just like people on the Surrey bikes and stuff like that. My kids were actually like, can we stay in this area sometime? I'm like, yeah, as soon as we win the lottery.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just a nice area, I think, to be and to spend some time. So like I said, you have to, or even your Epcot day, it's not too far to go out the back of Epcot and go over there. But
so, okay, so you thought it's worth the price tag that you paid for it. Is it worth 2 credits on a dining plan?
I'm always hard to judge that because I'm not a pro dining plan person. I think generally the signatures are not worth it unless you have that like super deluxe plan where you have like too many points that you can't even use. Generally, I think using 2 credits on any meal isn't the best use.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would use it more. I mean, unless it's like a show, like I would rather use 2 credits on, like Hoop-Dee-Doo when it came back or something like that. But
see, what part of me wants to do, like one day, I want like a adult only trip, right? Mm-hmm. And I want to get the deluxe dining plan where you get 3 sit down credits a day.
Yeah.
I want to do brunch every day at a sit down restaurant, and then I want to do a signature dining every day. Like I would do like the Yachtsman, but then I would do like Topolino's for a late breakfast or something else like that where you get, I just want to be stuffed. And like, I'd love to do like a Disney foodie kind of vacation. I think that would be kind of fun.
I always thought about doing one of those. I think what I would do though is a split stay, because if you do a split stay, you can get the dining plan just for one part of your split. So this way you kind of go like, okay, this is like our park heavy part of our trip, and this is like our dining heavy part of our trip, where I'm going to do like what you said. I'm having brunch and a big meal every day, and I'm going to be stuffed, and I'm not going to worry about how many rides I get on.
Yeah. My adult only trip, I'm not really worried about the rides other than the classics, of course, that you have to go.
Of course.
Okay, so keep going, because we're going to be here forever if I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. So the next day was Sunday. We had brunch over at Persimmon Hollow Brewing. I think I talked about this last time. This was a really fun place. Very like family friendly for a brewery. Very dog friendly. They have dog parties. You can rent out the patio and stuff like that. I think I included one photo of my food, which was I got a flight of beer from there. All of it was very good. Enjoyed the beer there. My wife got a flight of mimosas for brunch, so she enjoyed that. I got the barbecue flatbread. You could get chicken added onto it. I did not. I just had that because I figured from what everybody else was ordering, I'd probably need to help them out. My son got a burger that he really liked.
Wait, hold on a second. You got a barbecue flatbread, you said?
Yes.
And no chicken. So what is the actual barbecue?
So, the sauce, I guess, and
it's just
so
a
it had
barbecue
sauce and cheese and onions and stuff like that. So it's
gotcha.
like everything in a barbecue chicken
Gotcha.
pizza, just without the chicken.
Okay.
My son got a burger, which I tried, was really good, and everybody else got a form of avocado toast, because I guess they're all millennials and getting their avocado toast and that sort of thing. But they all enjoyed it, and we had a really, really good time. They all got like nice drinks, and I think fresh squeezed orange juice and stuff like that. It was just a chill place. Obviously, it's a little far away from Disney, so if you don't have your own car, but if you're doing more like what we did, an Orlando trip where Disney is just part of it, definitely recommend the whole area where it was really cool and chill and
how far
really
away was it from your place?
So our place, which if you remember is a little southwest of Animal Kingdom, so kind of toward the western side of Disney. So we had to cross all the way up I-4, get to the northern part of downtown Orlando. So probably took us about 45, 50 minutes.
Oh, okay. It's quite a hike then.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. it doesn't look that far on the map, and you're like, oh, I can do, I'm from New York, I can deal with some traffic and stuff like that, but it's like it just takes a long way to get from one area to another, like longer than you thought, and that's why we didn't go to this area as much as I thought we would, because it was just easier not to drive an hour somewhere. So that evening we did Uber Eats and got sushi in because everybody was kind of tired and wanted to swim and stuff like that. So just kind of regular, your whatever sushi like you would get with a lot of salmon avocado rolls, which is what my kids like. Then on Monday, that's when we met up with friends at Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar. I think I took a note that I actually didn't take any photos of the food because we were having such a good time. So there's just one photo in there of hanging out with our friends.
Which we showed last week.
Yeah, just so some of the food. One of the reasons I wanted to go there was they were having some special food for the February Soul Food celebration. One of them was chicken on the egg, which is like a deviled egg with buttermilk fried chicken and hot honey sauce on top. They were very good. There's also Miss D's fried sweet potato pies, which were sort of like empanadas but full of sweet potato filling with a spiced cinnamon sugar maple bourbon sauce. They were really good too. Very like on the sweeter side. They were almost make a good dessert. Had some good drinks, including one of my favorites from there called the Scottish Professor, and just tons of other food. A couple things that jumped out at me I really liked was there was this date and manchego cheese flatbread that had frisée, crispy prosciutto, red onion, and balsamic glaze. That was really good.
Oh, that sounds really good. Were the onions pickled?
I think they were either lightly pickled or lightly charred. They weren't like raw, but they were good.
That sounds very delicious.
And then my friend ordered this, and he let me try it, and it was really good. It was called Dr. Forrestal's Churrasco, which was basically like a cutting board that had grilled flank steak on it, served with pumpkin seed chimichurri, fried sweet plantains, and a spicy Amarillo peanut sauce. And that was just excellent. And all these things were like, I mean, we got a lot of food, so at the end of the bill, kind of adds up when everybody's having a couple drinks and stuff like that. But each thing was like, $14. Nothing was like crazy expensive. So like I said, I thought we were going to have so much food left over, but I guess we were just hanging out for a while. We ate everything.
It's conducive to sharing. It sounds like
exactly everything. Yeah, like that. That flank steak thing. They were like 4 or 5 pieces of steak, and it was definitely like everyone take a piece type thing. It was really good. So that's one of our favorite places in Disney Springs. Highly recommend it.
That's the type of thing. Like I like doing like the sharing things when you're out eating, because I always pick the wrong thing on the menu whenever I go anywhere. I'm like, I'm getting this, and then like I get orders or remorse, whatever you want to call it, and like somebody sits in front of me and like I should have gotten what you ordered there. And then but when you share, but typically the places you go to share, like this is $20 a plate, this is $30 a plate, and it's just like I want to order. Everybody should order like 1.5 things, right? So if you have 4 people there, you should get 6 dishes. So you have things to pick, right? And typically, if the prices are expensive, you're like, I can't. But if they're like $14-15, like you said, everybody getting chipping in for a couple extra, then it'd be like one normal plate. Like
exactly.
If you're paying $25 to $35 to get a couple things, that's pretty good.
Yep, exactly. I think I mentioned some of the things we did afterwards, just getting food. We got the Dole Whip nachos, which were really fun. Definitely recommend. That was something I wanted. It was my birthday that day, so that was kind of what I got for my birthday.
Which was ironically, not knowing the title shot of like our episode 2 weeks ago was Dole Whip nachos.
That's true. Yeah, it was. We stopped at a couple of the little places. We wound up, I think I talked about the journey we had walking around Disney Springs, but ultimately we wound up at Enzo's Hideaway for dinner that night. We got in no ADR, no problem getting in with our, filled up later. We got there maybe right or like 5:30 or something. It wasn't a problem. Later it started to fill up. This turned out to be one of the sort of the hidden gems of our trip. We really, really enjoyed it. I got the ravioli. My wife got this chicken dish that had lemon, oregano, and a bunch of like polenta and stuff with it that she really liked. That was a little different. The kids' meals I thought were a really good deal. They were, I think, either $14 or $16. I'm looking at $16, and you get your choice of a starter, an entree, dessert, and beverage. And like the kids got these, they call them fried cheese bites. They were basically homemade mozzarella sticks that were like ridiculously stretchy, and the kids enjoyed that. And they got, spaghetti and meatballs or chicken tenders. They got a drink. They all got ice cream. That was really good ice cream. So it was kind of one of those meals we didn't necessarily have super high expectations going in.
Sure.
But we really enjoyed it. It was just another more relaxing place too. It didn't feel like too stressful. We're just kind of hanging out.
And where was this?
So it's at Enzo's Hideaway Tunnel Bar.
Yeah, where is it?
So it's part of that island area that used to be Pleasure Island, and it's sort of there's the Maria and Enzo's, which is the big Italian place. This is you have to kind of go downstairs, and there's like sort of looks like I guess the idea is that it's a prohibition sort of
gotcha.
speakeasy type thing. I mean, it's not that hidden, or you have to know a secret word to get in or anything. You just follow the signs, but you have to go downstairs to get to like where it is, and then you go in. It's kind of got this like steel door with like a slot in it where they would ask you for your password and stuff like that. So that worked out really well. One other fun story we learned about that was a lot of the walls are concrete, and there's a lot of doodling on it. Some of it looks like it was professionally done, but some of it looks like people just wrote on the walls. And my kids wanted to leave their names, so we asked the server, "Are we allowed to write on the walls?" And she was like, got a little like shy all of a sudden. She's like, "No, you used to be able to, but then there was an incident where a table that had a little too much to drink was writing some inappropriate things on the wall, and it's concrete, so you can't just like paint over it. We had to like clean it for hours and stuff." So, yeah, sorry. Like it was just like, oh well, glad we asked.
Yes, good thing.
The next day was Tuesday. We had a late lunch at Sanaa. This was the time that, again, a reminder where we would have met up at Animal Kingdom Lodge. But we did a late lunch. So it was the lunch menu there.
Bread service on the screen right now for those who are watching on YouTube.
I did also start off with a Malawi mango margarita because it was National Margarita Day. I think I have a picture of that one too. That one was really good. It was made with a puree though, so it was really thick. So until it melted, I was using like a spoon.
I was just going to say, was this like a dessert? Because it looks like a sorbet almost.
That's it. Basically ate or drank, or I ate it like an adult sorbet. That was like a boozy sorbet until it, after a while it melted. I was able to drink it a little bit more, but it was like, you try to drink it and you're like, this isn't working. So
reminds me of the Jack Daniel's Jack and Coke slushy that you can get at Hollywood Studios.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you can't really drink it, but you can spoon it into your mouth and
exactly.
It's delicious.
Yes, and of course we got the bread service. Really enjoyed it. It was fun, like getting the kids to try the different sauces. It comes with 9 different dipping sauces that you put on, and everyone kind of like, that's my favorite. I like that one. I don't like that one.
Were any of them super spicy?
So there were 2 of them that they said were spicy. I like spice, but not like burn your face off spice. I like spice with flavor. I don't like things that are just hot. One of them I would say was legit spicy. The other one was a little bit spicy. It also came with 5 different types of bread. One of them had spice in it too. So if you got like kind of the spice bread with the really spicy thing, that would have been spicy. Everything else wasn't too bad though.
Very good.
One other little thing, we were going through the bread faster than we were going through the dips. And we asked if we could get some extra bread. And the server's like, yes, of course, I'll get you some more bread. I didn't realize there was a charge for the extra bread. So that was on the bill. I mean, it was only like, $4 or $5 or something like that. But just be mindful that if you get the bread service and you want more bread, it's not just not them just bringing extra bread.
I mean, to me, I wouldn't be surprised by that because I can see people kind of doing like the endless breadsticks at like Olive Garden type of thing. You order the bread service and you stay for like 4 hours eating naan the whole time.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. But just a reminder for people that might not be aware of that. I wound up getting their burger that had like a mustard sauce and a cheese sauce on it. Obviously all had some of those kind of Indian African spices that, pretty much all the food there has. It was quite good. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's like my favorite thing at the restaurant, so I'd probably get something else next time, but it was very good. So if you're in the mood for a burger and like kind of something a little different, but want a burger, it's a good option. But I think there are other things I like better.
I want to get the burger from Steakhouse 71.
That burger. I mean, obviously that's a much more traditional tasting burger, but I preferred that burger for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to find a way to sneak over there and get it at some point in my vacation, which never happened. So I got to think of a way to do that. I think if I go down and do a getaway, if I'm allowed to go down and do a getaway without any of my family other than my mother, I think that's one place we're going to target.
So the next, and I think one of the last full meal things I have is we ate at a place called the Harborside, which is in Winter Haven, about 10-15 minutes away from Legoland. So it's kind of about 40 minutes or so south of the Disney area because Legoland's about an hour. But just a nice local place, right? There's a lot of lakes in that area, so we got to see the sunset over the water and stuff like that. My kids love oysters, so we got a bunch of oysters and then had to order more oysters because they ate all the oysters and wanted more oysters.
Showing them on the screen. Lovely picture.
Yeah. We also had these lobster bites, which are kind of deep fried lobster. They dip in the butter and stuff like that were excellent. We got some gator. They had alligator on the menu and stuff like that. So we got to have some different stuff. All very good and just kind of a chill place. Grab a beer, grab some, oysters, or they had plenty of other stuff too, like plenty of steaks and burgers and stuff like that too. But just a good local place. So if you are going down to Legoland and kind of want something like this, I definitely recommend it. We really
Far
enjoyed
from
it.
Legoland?
So it was, I want to say it was less than 15 minutes. So it's not right next door, but like
Not
pretty
a bad
close.
drive. Okay.
Exactly. So that was another place we enjoyed. Again, though, another place where it's probably more for if you're doing an Orlando trip than if you're doing a Disney trip, just for where it is. Thursday, most of it was after I got up from my yoga. We went over to ESPN Wild World of Sports and had a few snacks there, including we got the popcorn chicken bucket. I don't know if I shared a picture of this, but it was the one where you get.
But you talked about it last week.
Yeah, so I had to finally try that one. So that was one thing we got that was surprisingly good. And then we went up that afternoon for like an early dinner to Crooked Can and Plant Street Market. This is up in Winter Garden, which is on the north side of Disney. So about maybe 10, 15 minutes north of the Magic Kingdom. So up off Disney property. It's another brewery, but it's in this Plant Street Market has all these different food booths. So one place had barbecue, one place had ceviche, one place had tacos, like all things like that, or mac and cheese place. So you can everybody could get whatever they wanted. And then, they had a lot of tables outside and it was wonderful weather-wise day that day. So we got to sit outside. I think the picture I included was just of my beer flight, which I guess the little like serving thing looks like a plane. So my kids got a kick out of that. This was a really cool place to hang out. The beer I thought was good and very reasonably priced. Some of the food stalls, I guess because everything's very like local and super high quality, some of it got a little pricey. So you have to be a little careful with that.
I mean, that sounds like some of the times that we have like a food truck like fair during the summer over here. Like the one here in Maryland that we went to last summer was actually pretty reasonably priced. Like you weren't spending any more than like $6 to $8 for like, a handful of tacos or, a barbecue sandwich, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But up in Jersey, we had a couple like you're spending $15 to $20 for every truck you're going to. So you got to be careful with that type of stuff.
Yeah, and this was I got from the barbecue place. I thought that was reasonably priced. I got ribs with a couple sides, and that wasn't too bad. That was like $14 or something. But some of the other places where they were making ceviche by hand, so it was really good. And the guacamole was really good, but it was like $7 for guacamole. Or like everything kind of added up once you. So, just something that you kind of be a little mindful of what you pick and choose there. The next day was Friday. Everybody else had the race. They did the 5K in Magic Kingdom, came back arrested, and then just looked for where there was availability. We got into the Boathouse, which is one place at Disney Springs we hadn't eaten before, and I was excited to try. So I was excited that there was a late lunch reservation for there. I think the only picture I remember to take was of their famous drink, which is the Duck Duck Raz. I knew I had to get one of those. It's a really cute looking drink.
I don't have it up there. Sorry.
Okay. But it's one of the drinks. It's got blue caracal in it, so it looks like blue water. And then they put an actual little tiny rubber ducky in the drink.
Oh yeah. I think I might've showed it last week.
Yeah. So really cute drink. The kids got a kick out of the rubber ducky. Tasting wise was not a very good tasting drink.
Curacao is very rare.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So it definitely was something you get for the looks and for the Instagram photos, more for the drink. The food we got there was really good. I got the crab cake that was really good. Olivia had gotten these steak filet mignon sliders that were really good. Overall, we enjoyed everything we had there. I don't think it's not making our must-do list to go back to the Boathouse. I know some other people really love it. I would definitely go back, like if people wanted to, but I don't think it makes, there's other places I'd rather eat again in or even try that we haven't been at Disney Springs again. So I know a friend of the show, Ryan Teets, really enjoys the brunch there, and that seems like a better value. So maybe we'll do that sometime in the future.
And that's it.
And I think the last thing we ate, I forget if we shared it this time or not, was the boozy beignets up at Port Orleans French Quarter. We got regular beignets with a caramel dipping sauce. And then the boozy beignets, one I think had rum chata and one had Irish whiskey in it. And
I think you talked about them last week, though. That just sounds amazing. I want all of it.
They were really good in the booze. So I think we'll end there. I know I've probably been talking about food and everybody's listening is probably really hungry now. So so we got to try a lot of new places to us, which I think is cool. Some Disney, some not. But I think overall we did pretty well.
Now, let me ask you this follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to do the trip over again, would you do more on Disney dining or would you do less on Disney property dining?
That's a good question. I think we did. It was convenient to go to the places at Disney Springs. That was something where we met up with friends. We went up doing so. That kind of helped us get our Disney fix in. We did have a number of days in a row where we did Yachtsman, and then we did. Well, I guess we had one day off, but then we did Disney Springs and Sonata. So it was like 3 out of 4 days we're doing Disney. I probably would have spaced them out a little bit more, and maybe done one less Disney day, just because I feel like I have a whole list of like local places I wanted to try that we didn't get to.
Gotcha. So you were looking for more of those breweries that you wanted to try.
Well, breweries are just like, there was a faux place I wanted to try. There was just more local places. And even some of they have a lot of chains there that we don't have near us and stuff like that I thought we would have done more of that, like let's go grab a burger at a place that, like there's Culver's there, which we don't have by us, things like that.
Culver's is not worth going to.
Okay, well, that was example A that came to mind. I know there's other stuff
Culver's
too.
is good, but like...
But there's like a Portillo's and just like, but even just local places, like there were other places I was looking up that I thought we would get to and we didn't. Yeah. So I think if I had to do it over again, knowing that, the next time we do a Disney trip, it might be a Disney trip, that I probably would have done more non-Disney stuff. But it's just so hard when you're like, let's just go to Disney Springs. Like it's easy to do that. So.
If I were in your shoes, there's so many Disney restaurants that I want to try that I haven't done because my kids were too small for it and wouldn't be worth the time or the money, but that I wouldn't even go off property places. So like if I was doing a Orlando trip or like a non-park trip type of thing, I have a list of like resort type of places I would like to go that maybe like on a full Disney vacation, I'm not bothering going, to Springs to catch a bus to go over to another resort where you have to like double up on your buses to get to a certain place. So that would be a perfect excuse if I had a car to be able to drive to different resorts and try the different, restaurants on a more leisurely pace rather than like, okay, this is our off day. We're going to the pool and then we have to get up and then we go. It seems like when you're on that type of trip, you have less of like an itinerary and more of like, I know I have a reservation at 6 today, but like we're having your nice lazy morning swimming and having a good time back at the house type of thing, which I think is more conducive to kind of do whatever you want, kind of check some things off a list and kind of get them done. Other than that, would you have done anything else differently from a dining point of view? Would you have gone out for more breakfasts, or did you really like the lazy mornings?
I kind of liked the lazy mornings. It was nice to just get a cup of coffee and sit by the pool. Maybe that's a good thought. We didn't really do any we did the one brunch at Persimmon Hollow, but other than that, we didn't really do breakfast out. So and I do enjoy a lazy breakfast or brunch type thing. So maybe we could have tried to do it. That's a good thought. We could have switched up the timing things and tried to do like maybe one day go out for breakfast and then be back at the house later. And I think I mentioned last time that I wouldn't have done a signature dining on an arrival day when we're driving down. Everyone was just a little exhausted, and I feel like we absolutely loved Yachtsman in the end, but I think it would have been better not on that first day.
Yeah, I would have like if we're going to do like a signature meal where we're spending hundreds of dollars on a good meal, that would be like the jewel of my vacation, so to speak. And like, again, I was listening to Matt Pato's podcast today when I was doing some chores, and like they always talk about their mulligans at the end of their trip reports. And like that would be my suggestion would have been like I would have done my super bang out dinner at like the middle of the week and really made a night of it. Like you were mentioning last week, like you were too tired to hang around for the fireworks and all that type of stuff. It kind of made more of a night of it type of thing. But it sounded like you had an amazing collection of dining experiences with friends in different places and different types of places.
Yep.
From fancy to sitting around with people playing with their dogs and having some drinks. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly.
All right. That was topic. We have 3 different topics, and we're now we might not have time for all this. So we're gonna go through this. We have 2 short ones that I wanted to talk about. You booked a cruise.
Yes.
And I had no idea you were looking at this. And
Neither did I.
So what happened? You're going on a cruise.
So we were just coming back from Florida. Everyone just really liked going down to a warm location and during over our February break. And so we're like, let's think about next year early. What do we want to do? Do we want to do Disney again or, Florida again? We talked about, well, maybe we could go, because my son was like, wanted to do something on a plane. So we're like, well, maybe we could fly to like a Caribbean island and do an all-inclusive resort or something like that. So we started looking into that. And the prices for those just kept going up and up and up as we were looking at them and stuff like that. And I know there's some like cheaper options, but like, well, do we really want to do the cheaper option? There's probably a reason it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, let's look into like cruising because that's kind of an all-inclusive type thing too. And I was like, well, maybe we could fly down to Florida, do a short cruise, maybe see family, something like that. Not like a full-blown Disney thing. So we started looking into Disney cruises because the kids were, we had done one so far and the kids are getting older, but like the youngest next year, she'd still be 8. So we're like, okay, probably getting out of the Disney cruise age, at least as far as kids clubs and stuff, but maybe time for one more. Just got scared off by the pricing.
I mean, like my sister put on our own family Discord that like, hey, next summer I'm looking up cruises. This one's only $7,000 for like 3. I'm like, oh, girl, like, okay, no. And
obviously, as a family of 5, we only fit in certain rooms, which makes the price go up a little bit more. Even though there are more rooms, which is one thing we found looking at non-Disney cruises is there are fewer options that fit. More than 4 people. We do fit into a lot of rooms on Disney cruise, but it still made the price go up. So we were looking at, well, maybe we could do a shorter cruise, like 3 days on the Disney Wish we were looking at, or 4 days. And then we kind of asked the kids like, well, what would you rather do, that or maybe a different cruise line, but we could go longer? And they were like, we'd rather go longer. Like, and they see all the commercials for Royal Caribbean and they see their private island with the giant water slides and stuff. Like, can we do that? I'm like, all right, let's look into that. And not to say it's cheap, but compared to Disney, it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And there's definitely going to be some extra costs. We know we have to pay for like if we want to do some of the specialty dining and stuff like that. But I was actually surprised looking into it, how much is included on the ship. We're going on. So what we wound up booking was a 7-day cruise that'll leave February 18th next year on the Symphony of the Seas. So one of the newer ships, I think they just launched their newest ship. This is the newer one prior to that. It's a huge ship. It's got like everything on it, but even like it has zip lining on the ship. That's included. It has like miniature golf, rock, like everything is not an extra charge, which in my head, I was thinking all these things were going to have extra charges. Now on their private island, they have a thing that, water park, that's an extra charge. And so there are certainly things,
sure.
But a lot more was included than I thought. And just, I mean, I'm not going to give every dollar figure or whatever, but we're doing a 7-day cruise for about $500-$600 more than what the 3-day cruise on the Disney Wish would cost.
Oh my goodness, that's a pretty.
And about $1,500 less than the 4-day cruise. So it's just like, I'm sorry, Disney, you priced me out. When my kids are like, "This looks great, let's do this."
Well, why
and
would
we can
you
go for a week? So, and I feel weird because I know Disney's more expensive. We did a Disney cruise, like you see why it costs more, like the quality of the show, the quality of the the cast members, the quality of the food that's kind of included, all the just the unique things, all the characters. But $1,500 for 3 days less, like
no. I like a good long vacation. I'm with you on that one.
So that's what we're doing next winter break over President's Week. We'll be flying down to Miami. It leaves out of Miami. Have I think a total of 3 sea days, plus it'll get to St. Martin, St. Thomas, and their private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay.
Very nice.
We're excited about that.
You're not skeeved out about cruises? I mean, I was skeeved out about cruises before the pandemic.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I mean, I'm hoping a year from now we're far enough out that like we're not that worried about it. We're obviously very much looking into trip insurance. But I think it is what it is, I mean, the ship's huge. We can find space on it. And things can happen. So I certainly understand that. My sister actually commented, she's like, I don't know if I want to go on a cruise now, like just my mentality. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But I think, when you see people sandwiched in at Disney or on the New York City subways or whatever, like it, and I feel like they do a lot of cleanliness things. Everybody's got to always, wash your hands and wipes and stuff like that before you go to the buffets and things like that. So I'm hoping it'll work out. If it does, it does. If not, then that'll be our last time, I guess. But but we'll see. Well, we're excited for it. We've been watching a ton of YouTube videos and reviews of all the different restaurants and the drinks. And
you're already planning already. I love it.
Yeah, we are. So it's fun. So we're excited for it. And yeah, it just really hit us that, we like vacationing. I think we've done a bunch of different things, but the kids just loved being in the warmth and going swimming. And it was a nice break from like I said, when my neighbor, I had to bring back beer for him. So he was happy to get his beer, but he was shoveling my walk while I was drinking a beer in the pool. So yeah.
I'm with you on that one. I want to give a quick trip report. This is going to be brief, everybody. I was talking with my mother last night, and my father had went down to Disney for the first time in 30 years. When last time I went as a child, so early 90s, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And since then he's not in the best of physical mobility health, I guess. Right? He's got a limp, and he doesn't like walking long distances. So my sister rented a scooter for him. Now, it took a lot to get my dad to go down to Disney because he's not the biggest Disney fan, but he's a sucker for a lot of good stuff too. But he was apprehensive. He didn't want to be embarrassed being on a scooter and doing all this other stuff, and he didn't know how he was going to be able to go through crowds. He was going to be like the only one. I'm like, oh, Dad, you're not going to be the only one on a scooter at Disney World. And this is basically brief. So if you have any family members that have a disability or have a problem walking, typically, where they get around just fine day to day, but of course a Disney vacation, you're walking 30 miles a day type of thing. After he learned how to use it, and he was comfortable within the first couple hours of being in the parks.
Oh, that's good.
He got to the point where my mother hung back in the room one day, and my sister and her family went off, and my dad was like, you know what, I want to go out. He was able to just go get his scooter, got on it, went to the bus stop, loaded up to the bus all by himself, met him at the Magic Kingdom, and spent the rest of the day with him, that type of thing.
That's great.
And I'm like, he did that? Really? And he's not like an introvert type of like whatever. I mean, he'll go and do whatever, but sometimes, he doesn't like showing off his weaknesses, I guess. Mm-hmm. But he's like, you know what? I love it. Let's go. And he went to the parks. So for anybody that might be hesitating about it, we all see the people down at Disney riding scooters all the time, where I'm in buses all the time, where they do an excellent job getting people loaded in the back door. They do that first, so the people in the front aren't cramming in past them. So Disney does an excellent job. We've all witnessed this, but I've never had a family member that's had to do it. And from that point of view, he was incredibly comfortable and happy to partake of it. So if you have any family members that are going down there for the first time in a while, that type of thing, and they're hesitant about either health issues, disabilities, or anything else like that, they don't have any reason to be worried. Because if my dad was super worried just about being self-conscious about it, not just like he knew he'd be able to get around, but he was nervous and all this other stuff about it. It took him 5 hours, and he was like, this is the best in the world. I love it. And will allow him, hopefully, to go on future Disney World vacations, because now he knows he can do it, and he's going to be a lot more comfortable. Because that was always his fear of, I can't be on my feet all day long. I'm not able to do that. But he was able to be fine, and, even he was at the parks, open to close type of thing, he was perfectly okay with that. So I'm gonna throw that PSA, I guess. I guess that's maybe a public service announcement.
Did they rent from Disney, or did they rent from a third party so he had it the whole time with him?
Yeah, so he had it. They parked it in their room and all this other stuff. So they had it the whole time. I would not rent from Disney only because it's so expensive, from what I hear. Okay. So they had a great experience with it. So that's
excellent.
All right, Phil, where can they find us on social media? Let's remind everybody.
Yeah, so find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at the DBC Pod. We are at that extension at all of those, and of course our Discord server.
And I would like to remind everybody to please like and subscribe to the videos that you're watching right now. Take the 2 seconds to hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, please. If you're not subscribing, please subscribe. And if you're listening on iTunes, 5-star rating with some questions or anything else would be much appreciated. That's how we get out there and get new followers and listeners and members into Discord. All right, Phil, we have a couple different options here. As usual, we're running a little beyond what I was expecting. We have the attractionality that we didn't do last week, which was Mission Space. We could do that with a good follow-up question, which I think warrants a little bit of extra time. I really like this question. I want to do the Disney positivity story. Okay. And we have a rumor that we can talk about. And then we have the DBC recommends today was actually Len Testa's review on the Disney Dish podcast. I have not listened to that yet.
Yeah, so maybe we'll save that for next week after you listen to it, and then we can talk about it next week.
I'm looking forward to that. Do you want to read off Mickey Waffles'
Sure.
positivity story of the week?
Yes. So, Discord member Mickey Waffles shared that in 2019 they were staying at the Boardwalk Villas for a couple of nights before her daughter's 4th birthday. They stopped at Screen Door, and her daughter had birthday mini ears on, and the CM asked if it was her birthday. And she said, I think it was the night right before her birthday. When I was checking out, the same cast member quietly asked me if my daughter had any food allergies, if she could give her a Bell cupcake. I said yes. She brought it out to my daughter, and she was so surprised, and it was so sweet. And I think these moments always get me a little emotional because it's just nice to surprise the kids when they feel special like that and stuff. So, and it's just like, it's fun. I don't know. I feel like a lot of these, it's not always a huge thing, right? It's just a cupcake at the end of the day.
Exactly.
But this is something that I think Disney does in the past, and that I honestly would like to see them probably do even more of going forward. But I think it's those kind of special things that make kids especially, but everybody feel a little special.
What stood out to me in the story, and I might be reading this wrong, it's like the next day that they gave out the cupcake. Am I getting that right? Like where the birthday was the night. It was the night before her birthday.
I think she just had the mini ears on that night anyway, even though it wasn't exactly her birthday. It was like the night before. So I think
she was checking out the same CM. So I'm assuming that's like the next day.
Okay.
Right? That's how I'm reading it. So
okay.
I'm going to do that because that makes the story even better. Because
let's assume you're right. Yeah.
That means that the cast member remembered and took the time to find that person and kind of do that too.
Absolutely.
I don't think any of the service from the cast members is diminished because of the pandemic and everything else like that. And I think the only thing is maybe, and where this is all speculation, maybe they're not as incentivized to do this type of thing. But I think the traditions are still there. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. The follow-up question is: had you any pixie dust treats at Walt Disney World? I have not had any food-related pixie dust stories. Do you have any, Phil?
Yeah, I can think of one. We were in Magic Kingdom. This was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We were in Tomorrowland, and we were talking to a cast member who happened to be, we were just kind of in the morning talking with people, chatting it up, and he saw us and was like, started making conversation, and he was working at the churro booth there.
It's always churros.
It's always churros. And he said, I'm able to do this for a few people each day, and I want to gift you a churro. And I have to say, the best tasting churro in the world is a free one.
No doubt about it. Well, I do have a pixie dust food story,
okay.
but it's about a reservation. This is more of a PSA or a tip than anything else. So we were in the Hollywood Studios. We had reservations for like 6:30, 7 o'clock, but we wanted to eat earlier. So we went over to the podium outside of Hollywood and Vine. It says, do you have any openings at 5:30? Because the app had nothing open. And the cast member was like, absolutely, come back in like 20 minutes and we'll put you on the list. We should be able to have a table for you right away. And we were able to get a better time in reservation because she had openings. Yep. So this is not a new trick, but just to make everybody aware, if you're having trouble finding an appropriate time for you, always go right before dinner service or lunch or whenever it is and say, do you have any openings? Because they always keep slots open for walk-ups just in case.
Yep.
And it might not work if you want like dinner at like 6:30, like the primo time where everybody's trying to eat dinner. But if it's a little bit earlier and a little bit later and there's nothing open in the app, sometimes you can get seated if you just kind of walk up. And if you're not, you don't mind waiting maybe a little bit extra time, you can usually find something. And as long as you're nice and as long as you're respectful, cast members, you typically will do something. We'll try their hardest to kind of slip you in and find some spots for you.
That's what I was going to. I mean, at the end of the day, they want you to have a good trip, and if they can make it work, they'll figure it out. If they can't, they can't. Don't get upset if they can't, but it never hurts to ask.
So the last thing I want to say, we're not going to do a DVC recommends, and everything everybody's talking about is still the Star Cruiser. We're going to talk about that next week, like we just mentioned. But there was a rumor that I saw last week floating around Discord. I don't know if it was floating around anywhere else. I
only saw it on the Discord. I think Matt actually had brought it up from some of his sources.
So he was saying that reservations might be going away for everyone outside of annual pass holders. So even if you're an annual pass holder, but you have an on-property reservation, you're not technically an AP person. You're picking from the resort bucket at that point. From an operational standpoint, do you see this happening? You think?
I don't. It seems weird to make it only some people. His reasoning or what he's heard is just that they want to really prioritize the day guests, because you're buying a ticket that's kind of dated anyway, and that I guess they've been having some, I don't know if issues or complaints or just some people not happy that they're spending all this money to stay on property, and maybe they want to switch what park they go to, or they hadn't made reservations or whatever, and they're just having to deal with some issues with people not being able to get into the park they want when they're paying $700 a night or whatever. And so I think, it sounds like they need to make some changes around that, so that if you're paying to stay on property, if you're paying for a dated ticket, you can get into the park you want. And this is the way it might be manifesting itself.
And I don't know if this rumor is true, but like I guarantee you from a guest relations point of view that there is a good amount of people that are going there spending a ton of money at deluxe resorts, even moderate or value resorts, saying, I'm paying $100-something for this ticket. I'm staying on property and I can't switch this. I'm stuck. And like I made these plans 30 days ago, 60 days, whatever it was. Yeah. And I can't go to this other park. I'm stuck. And having to deal with that, taking up that cast member's time to deal with that when they need to be dealing. I mean, not that this isn't a bad issue. I mean, this is something that these spell it out for you that you need to make these reservations.
Oh, sure.
However, not everybody's doing that, or they think maybe it's easy to change, or they haven't gone to Disney in 20 years and they're coming back, whatever. I could see if I'm spending the money, even at the moderate level where you spend $400 a night at basically not a great hotel for $400. Yeah. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, there's zero value for the actual rooms that you're getting on a lot of these Disney properties, except for a couple of them. And then I don't even know if the Polynesian's worth $900 a night. But,
exactly.
That being said, I'm going to feel entitled when I'm on Disney property. I'm spending $400 a night. I'm spending $700 on tickets. I'm spending these food prices, and I can't go to the park that I want and spend more money. And I could see me raising a stink about that if I wasn't so darn sure which parks I'm going to every single day. And obviously I'm not going to make.
But even sometimes things change, right? You hear a ride's down. When I booked this a year ago, I didn't know this ride was going to be down and stuff like that. Like things like that, where it's like, okay, well, I'd rather not go to this park, but now I'm like you said, I'm stuck with it.
Yeah, and I could see Disney be like, you know what, that's probably right. And so rather than dealing with those bad trip reports, those bad vibes about people, because it's going to hit them with a lot of other stuff in the next couple of years. The rising prices and paying twice as much for half as less and that type of thing.
Yep.
The dam's going to break somewhere. And I could see this happening. And again, the annual pass holders, they're going to crap all over them as they usually do because that price is already locked in. It's usually locals, and locals can come back another day if they're really struggling with that type of thing. So I think it's always been the annual pass holders have that always put them over capacity or surge past a certain kind of operational metric that they might be expecting. So kind of gating them might be a way to kind of either bring back the sales of annual passes faster or at least, give annual passes a little bit more, but like this is your restriction type of thing.
Yeah.
That being said, I think we're going to end the show here, Phil. We're just at an hour. I'm glad we got your trip report done. I was worried that maybe I didn't want to keep you waiting on that another week, but if you have any questions for Phil, anything that he ate, please send. He's got some extra pictures, so if you want to ask him about a certain thing, he'll certainly share that over social media.
Absolutely.
He'd be more than happy to do that. I'm looking forward to next week watching and listening to Len Tessa's review. I saw that today. I was going to listen to it, and I was like, I didn't have enough time, and I really wanted to concentrate on it.
Yes, absolutely. No, it's worth it. There's a lot of back and forth. He went with somebody else who was not like as into it as he was, or like didn't like plan to have a character and stuff like that like he did. So you definitely get different viewpoints as well, which I think is great. So, but you do need to focus a little bit.
Yeah, and then next week we're definitely going to go do the attractionality for Mission Space. This has been like our third show. Will be the third show that we're supposed to be doing this, and we're going to talk about World Discovery, which is that section of the park that's now named, and maybe do some armchair imagineering on what that area should look like in like 10 years, because it's definitely a mishmash of things now.
Okay.
So that being said, guys, thanks for watching and listening. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Take care, everybody.
Take care.